3,650 days, 5,256,000 minutes, 315 million seconds, a decade. That's how long Hextech Chests have been a part of the game. For more than 60% of League's history, Riot has rewarded players for dedicating hours to the game. A way of saying, well done, to those who invested time but may not have been able to invest money. But about a month ago, Riot said, no more. We don't give a damn if you spent hours playing our game for a whole year. All we care about is your money. Or at least that's how it felt. Until they did something that shocked the whole community. But what does the way Riot handled the issue of Hextech Chests and making money have to do with LoL as a whole? To better understand what's really happening with Hextech Chests, we need to take a deep dive into what Hextech Chests meant to both the community and Riot, the structure of Riot as a business, and why this is much bigger than free cosmetics. Let's do a quick recap of what Hextech Chests really are exactly, or were rather. Trust me, it's important. Hextech Chests, I'm going to say this so many times in this video, were basically loot boxes that could be bought, but were usually obtained for free when a player hit S rank on a champion, or when a member of their pre-made party did. There were some limitations to this though, the first being that you could only earn one chest per week, and the second being that you could only earn one chest with a single champion in a season. It was a reward for skill and mastery, but there were limits in place. I was lucky enough to be playing League before Hextech Chests existed, and I remember how hyped I was when they were announced. It felt like the game I loved me back. Riot was saying, hey, I know you can't afford skins, so just be the best you can and we'll help you along. And sure, I never used my Commando Lux, but it still felt awesome to open up a loot box and look through what I got. It was Riot taking a step to make the community feel seen and appreciated. But all things must come to an end. Riot recently announced that they would be discontinuing Hextech Chests, and their reason is pretty simple. Skins are LoL's only real source of income, and giving them away for free just doesn't make sense. According to them, Hextech Chests have become people's primary way of collecting skins, and in their own words,
over time though, free chests unintentionally became the primary way to unlock skins, and an increasing number of players ended up with substantial skin collections for free. This meant that purchasing skins directly didn't make sense anymore to a lot of players.
So that's the picture Riot wanted to paint. They've been losing money because they've been giving away the main thing they charge for. Imagine a car dealership giving away all their best cars to anyone who just stayed in the store long enough. There's no way they wouldn't lose money on that. Now, the reaction to the discontinuation of Hextech Chests was generally unified. We hated it. As a community, we felt betrayed. However, a good chunk of people could see where Riot was coming from. It doesn't really make sense to give away your main source of income. Or does it? To really understand why removing Hextech Chests was such a bad idea, even worse than most of you would have thought, we need to understand the business. Riot, for most of its history, made one thing, League. This was its one and only product, and it grew. A huge player base, the world's largest esports event. And countless hours of playtime grew it into a phenomenon. The only issue with what LoL was, from a business point of view, was that it was free. Despite its success, Riot never charged any of us to be part of the experience. The only thing they ever charged for was cosmetics, skins. These were Riot's only real way of making money for a very long time. However, around 2019, they started to diversify. They've since made TFT, Arcane, Wild Rift, and Valorant, and have many more projects in the works. Great, so now Riot has a bunch more streams of income, so they're making more money, right? Well, not really, or rather, not at all. Riot is starting and has started a lot of things, and all these projects take money. Even as successful as Arcane was, it lost Riot money, costing $250 million to produce and market, and only making around $108 million in revenue. Some other ventures, like Wild Rift, do make Riot some money, but not nearly enough to sustain the company. Despite having more streams of income, Riot is even more reliant on League to make the money now than ever before. Riot said they were losing money because of Hextech Chests. So, is Riot losing money? Well, actually, yes, or at least making less money. Riot's annual profits aren't public knowledge because they are a privately traded company, but we do have an idea of how much they earn. Riot Games' annual earnings in 2023 was $1.5 billion. The highest they ever earned from League was $2.1 billion, all the way back in 2017. So they're down $600 million from peak profit, right? Well, sort of. It's actually much worse than that. They made $2.1 billion from League alone. By 2023, they had Arcane, TFT, Valorant, Wild Rifts, way more projects that are doing well in their own right, yet they're making much less money. So, yes, Riot was making less profit. But is it because of Hextech Chests? I doubt that. Like I said, the year Riot had record sales was 2017, the year after Hextech Chests were implemented. So, the year after people started getting the skins for free, LoL made the most money they ever had. Not to mention, like I said earlier, there were some limits in place. Unless you were a master of a ton of champions, you were likely going to get 2 or 3 skins every year. Is it a lot? Yeah, but those skins are random. The chances of any of those skins being ones you wanted or would have paid for is rather low. Now, I'm not saying that Hextech Chests in no way affected their bottom line, but rather that 2017 is definitive proof that there is a way for Hextech Chests to be a part of the game while Riot still makes a lot of money, so they can't possibly be the sole problem. And Riot knows this. It's easy to just go, they're giving away something for free, they're losing money. It's an easy answer, almost intuitive. But Riot knows that they made money with the chests, so why are they so hell-bent on removing them? Like I said, Riot isn't losing money, but they are making less profit. In this situation, there are 2 options. Focus on making the games as good as possible and trusting that would make things better, or try to maximize profits. Want to guess which one Riot chose? To Riot, Hextech Chests represented something far more important than free skins. It represents the dumb decisions they made as a naive young company that they would feel would one day drive their business to the ground. It represents their lack of experience. Riot has quite clearly been trying to move away from the indie developers they once were to a larger, more profit-oriented company, and Hextech Chests are just one aspect of this. However, to us players, Hextech Chests represented LoL being for the community, not trying to make money from us. It was Riot saying we could pick between making you happy or making money, and we picked you. Now it's like Riot is going, oh, on second thought, that money actually looks pretty good, we'll take that, thank you. And oh boy, does the money look really good to them, right? Like I said, Hextech Chests represents the greater issue. They're not the issue itself. Riot, over the past few years, has begun to prioritize making money over the community and over the game itself. They need money to fund all their other ventures, whether those be future series or games, and the only way to do that, in their view, is to milk the League community, and the only way to do that is with skins. So, Riot decided to make a structure that allowed them to make as much from us as possible. A gacha system to exploit what they seem to think are dumb and skin-addicted gamers. The reaction to this was obviously horrible, but not because of the predatory system, but because of something else entirely. Let's just take a look at the most recent skin in the Exalted line, the new hyper-expensive skin line. Now, I know this looks like a weird Pantheon skin, but it's a Mordekaiser skin, and one that costs $250 and some gambling to get. This was, and still is, one of the clearest examples of what is wrong with League right now. This skin is mediocre at best. It's not a horrible skin, sure. At a different point in time and price point, it could have been an okay skin, but there really wasn't anything special about it. Definitely not enough to warrant the price. Now, a lot of the League community likes to hate on the gacha system and say Riot was evil and exploitative for implementing it, but games like Genshin Impact have huge player bases that are actually happy with the way the games work. So why isn't the same true for LoL? Well, that comes down to a couple of things. The first is that with gacha games, you're expected to be able to gain some utility from any pull. A new character or item will serve you in some way in your actual gameplay. Sure, you may have wanted something else, or better, but you still got something you can use. Skins don't really offer you any utility. I get nothing if I spent money trying to roll for an Exalted Jinx skin, but got some other random thing I don't care about. Gacha games work because they're built to reward players for gambling. And let's call a spade here, it is gambling. League was never supposed to be about that. They're obviously ramming a random new concept into all for the express purpose of getting us to take negative and detrimental actions to make themselves more money. And no one likes feeling like a sucker. The second issue with this whole system is the skin quality. This skin just isn't worth the price, especially when skins like Project Mordekaiser on the same champion are literally under 20 bucks and look so much cooler. Is there a world where people pay over $200 for skins? I would say yes, but those skins would have to be something so unreasonably special that it would feel worth it. Right now, it feels like Riot is trying to pull a fast one on us and get us to pay 10 times the price for a legendary skin. Even Skin Spotlight, the channel that has literally been advertising skins for League of Legends for over a decade, called this skin another lackluster Exalted. And it all comes down to the same issue we explored with the chests. Riot has picked profit over actually making the community happy. To them, the actual quality of the skins doesn't matter in the slightest. All that matters is that they got us to buy them. All that matters is that they make money. And this shows in basically every decision Riot has been making recently. Heck, one of the biggest issues we've had in League is the unreasonably toxic player. We've always asked Riot to just please find a way to deal with it, and what they did instead was get rid of the honor system. The literal only incentive to actually being a half-decent person while playing, just so they don't have to give away more free skins. Oh, and they also laid off over 500 employees, so now they don't have enough people to even properly look into disputes, so there's also that. I have all the same issues everyone else does with all of this. Riot feels greedy, and regardless of whether you gave them to us or not, taking away things we've had for so long, like honor rewards, your shop, and Hextech Chests, feels like you're robbing us. But I have another more personal issue. I'm worried that this might actually be the start of the end for Riot. I mean, look at the new Battle Pass skin for Alistar. It doesn't even have a recall animation and is basically just a chroma of his base skin. We know Riot can do so much better than this, but why do they choose not to? Well, like we said earlier, they're trying to be more efficient, and efficiency means not spending time or money on anything that doesn't explicitly make you more money. Battle passes don't make the money, they're just there to give some slight consolation for the loss of Hextech Chests, so we feel like we're still getting something for playing the game. And this worries me. No one wants to play a game they hate. Even if we still find the structure of League fun, if we hate the game, we can't enjoy it. And right now, the game is starting to get pretty hard to love. But if you've been loving this video, make sure to like and subscribe. So, what should Riot have done instead? They still need to make money, right? Before getting into the more specific things, the first thing they need to do is make the game more fun. It seems pretty clear to me, looking at the timeline of events, that LoL started making less money after games like Fortnite and PUBG came out, for obvious reasons. Gamers only have so much money to spend on games, and while over $70 billion was spent on in-game purchases in 2023, and likely more in the following years, where we spend those game bucks is really up to us. LoL used to be this monolith in free-to-play games. Sure, it had a few competitors here and there, but nothing too large and never too numerous. Now, however, it's like there's a new super dominant free-to-play game every few years, right? It's PUBG, Fortnite, Genshin, Overwatch 2, and more recently, Marvel Rivals. Sure, a lot of gamers play multiple of these games, but we would likely invest money into the one we find the most fun. If that's not League, no amount of psychological manipulation can get us to give them our money, but if that is League, we would spend liberally. They could improve match selection, add voice chats to solo queue, and they could have kept alternative game modes like Swarm in the game for longer. Riot didn't realize that they were competing for our money, and they had to make us feel like we should spend with them and not some newer, shinier game. If they wanted us to pay more for skins, they just had to give us skins that were worth more. If the community is behind something, we'll put our money behind it as well. Imagine this, a skin that didn't just change how the character looks, but changes the map. Hold with me now. Imagine loading in as Exalted Jinx, and all your whole bot side jungle and bot lane towers are covered with her signature graffiti. The skin is still well designed and looks cool, but how much would you pay to literally change the map? Now imagine if there was a chance you could get this on your first Hextech chest, but you'd have to wait till the end of the season and risk it all on one or two chests. Or you could buy a couple and try your luck now. I know the option I would pick, and I'm not even a Jinx main. Now, imagine that for the whole Exalted tier. Imagine playing Radiant Serpent set and seeing snake reliefs carved into all of the topside, still keeping all the same forms it already has. Or imagine it in the jungle, maybe even changing the way your buffs look. An even more expensive skin could change how Dragon and Baron look. That would make Exalteds feel so much more luxurious and expensive and separate them from Ultimates. These aren't just things Riot could do, these are the kinds of things that I would expect Riot to do. They were always the hallmark of creativity for me, from their game to their music videos, even to Arcane. They always felt like they would go above and beyond to create something awesome. That was until recently, and that's the big issue here. It seemed like Riot was no longer the company I loved. Could I really have held on to the hope that they would be willing to make another series as good as Arcane, even if it still lost them money? Could I have held out hope that all their future games would still be free to play? I was ready to pack up my bags and leave that sinking ship that was the Rift until 2 weeks ago when Riot made an announcement. They said that they heard our voices, and after almost a month of bad decisions, decided to bring back Hextech Chests, rework the Battle Pass system, bring back honors, and take more time to develop the Exalted skins. Now, I'll leave a link in the description so you can watch the update for yourself, but all in all, seems like a win, right? The question I found myself asking was simply, what actually changed? What made Hextech Chests go from the biggest financial mistake Riot ever made to a necessary part of the game? Well, it's simple, isn't it? Outrage. When I started making this video, I was so sure that this would be the end of Riot. Everyone was ready to leave League and go fuel their skin addiction somewhere else, and Riot seems to have noticed this as well. And like I mentioned, Riot still needs us to make money. LoL is still Riot's main source of income. If we stop playing, they go down. No more Noxus, no more Arcane, no more anything, no more Valorant, no more TFT. And oh boy, does it look like they don't want us to stop playing. Yes, in this instant we technically won, but that doesn't mean all the things wrong with Riot magically disappeared either. Riot said in the Season 1 check-in that they knew that Hextech Chests led to a greater player experience, but they still cut them all the same. So there are two possible things that could be going on here. Hextech Chests are unsustainable and Riot is going to have to look for other ways to make money, or they never were and Riot just wanted to cut everything that made them less money, and when it seemed like cutting the chests would make them lose money, they backtracked. Now, I know this might seem a little bit like Riot is damned if they do and damned if they don't. If they kept the chests out of the game, they would be greedy. If they brought them back, still the same. Was there nothing that they could have done that I would have been happy with? The answer is yes. I had assumed that when the chests came back, they would be giving us fewer skins, not the same amount, if not more. I assumed that there was some merit to what they said about it not being sustainable, right? But now it seems that Riot was willing to lie to our faces to make more money. Maybe Riot is some money-hungry capitalist machine now, and I think we all have to accept that they'll always go where the money is now. But at least we can have some solace in the fact that they still listen to us, inasmuch as we are their main source of income. But that might change one day. Maybe other games will start doing better, or their animated series will start turning a profit. If, or rather when that happens, I'm not sure what the state of League will be.